Welcome to Rock Rants. My name is Smiggy, and as always, I am joined by my beautiful co-host,
Ryan.
Today, we are taking a deep dive into an artist who prefers to let the spaces in between genres be the source of their creative fountain. An artist who has seemingly never cared for traditional music creation, not just in the metal genre, but for the musical world as we currently know it. This is an artist who shares the name of what we called my grandpa growing up, which, right, from metal artist to 83-year-old dead man. So what are we talking about today? Not my grandfather. He's dead. We're going into Negative Spaces, which is the latest sonic boom from artist Poppy. This is an album that pushes genre boundaries even further into an unrecognizable state. Poppy is known for her chameleonic, if that's even a word, chameleon-like shifts between bubblegum pop, industrial metal, experimental electronica, so many different genres of music. Poppy doesn't just blur the lines on this album, she erases them entirely. Negative Spaces is a haunting, chaotic, and at times strangely serene exploration of identity, alienation, and post-human aesthetics. Whether you're a longtime fan or just curious about the shape-shifting force that is Poppy, this record demands attention, and we're here to unpack every word from harsh screams to soothing whispers. So to start this off, Ryan, I want to ask you, because you're part of this podcast, what do you know about Poppy?
I know that Poppy is a musician, first off. I first heard about Poppy when you and I actually went to go see Avenged Sevenfold together, and Poppy was one of their openers. So I looked up just a little bit, not even much about her, just looked up a couple of her songs, thought they were pretty good. They did end up growing on me later, and I listened to two of her older songs quite frequently. It's X and I can't remember the name of the other one, but it'll come to me later in the podcast. Mm-hmm. But that was it. And then I ended up seeing Poppy when she was featured on Knocked Loose. They had a song that they did together, and they performed it on Jimmy Kimmel. And grandparents thought it was the end of the world and just the worst thing ever. But it was really cool to see like a mosh pit and all that stuff during Jimmy Kimmel. And then, I started looking up more of her music from there because I found that she's coming out with her new material once I saw her perform with Knocked Loose. So I had heard... I have the songs pulled up right here. I had heard The Cost of Giving Up because I think she may have also performed that on another show. I heard They're All Around Us and New Way Out. So those are the three songs that I was familiar with before listening to the whole album. But that's all I know. I don't know much about her. I thought that she was a YouTuber. I thought that she just made pop music and not generic pop music. I'd always thought I heard she was a little bit different, with her music creation.
We know that.
Exactly. That was, that's all I know though. And so we're switching up the format a little bit. I didn't do any research or look up anything ahead of time about Poppy. Smigs did all of the research and is going to be telling me some of the stuff for the first time.
Yeah, you guys will notice a distinct difference. So last week, the theme of these last two episodes, this one for Poppy's Negative Spaces and Deftones Private Music, we both took turns taking a band artist album that one of us knew a lot about, the other one didn't know jack shit about, and we were playing a bit of a teacher-student role. You're going to see a distinct difference in which one of us prepares more for information dumping, and it's not me. It's just not me. So we're gonna do all right here. But number one, I wanted to also say that while I think boomers have some takes that are, as the phrase goes, okay, boomer, I would also say that starring on, you say Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel?
Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, I would definitely say that is also the end of the world. I fucking hate that guy. I think Jimmy Kimmel, I think both Jimmys, to be fair, I think Kimmel and Fallon are both a plague to late night TV for grossly different reasons, but they're essentially just both industry plants that kind of know how to keep the needle moving, and I think they're both disgusting human beings in their own right.
Greatest late night talk show host, Conan O'Brien. Followed by Craig Ferguson. Neither of those guys are on anymore, so I'll pass.
And what's his name? Noah keep wanting to say Noah Khan, but I know that's obviously not right. It's the South African dude.
Trevor Noah.
Trevor Noah, that's the one. Well,
Trevor Noah's good. I read his book.
Yeah,
he's
good.
He's funny.
He at least seems genuine, whereas Fallon and Kimmel, I mean, Kimmel, he's just an asshole, and Fallon's just a drunk. Anyway, back to Poppy. Much like my aforementioned passed away grandfather, she was also a YouTube star. My grandfather wasn't a YouTube star. It just seemed like the only natural transition. But Poppy is much more like us in terms of background than you might think. So whenever we talk about a lot of these bands, your Deftones, your Avenged Sevenfolds, and of course all the ones that we always mention along the way, Slayers, Metallicas, all those things, System of a Down, those took the much more socially accepted or traditional route, right? Where a group of friends, maybe they started as a garage band, maybe one of them just happened to be really good at guitar and he got his friends to join, all this kind of stuff, right? Like all the American dream, sex, drugs, and rock and roll style of getting into the music. Poppy, like I said, not only breaks the mold within many genres, but breaks the mold in her upbringing as a musical superstar, which I say that lightly because I don't know exactly how well accepted in the overall rock and music scene she is, but from everything that I have listened to, this album included, if nothing else, Game has to respect Game, Ball got to know Ball, and Girl knows Ball. Girl knows so many different types of ball, we're not even sure what game we're playing half the time. But in Poppy's early career, much like us transitioning over into podcasting, she did start as a YouTube creator. So back in 2011-ish, 2010, 2011, started doing covers of honestly really any type of music, but a lot of rock songs, and a bunch of vlogs that were centered around music and other skits on a channel called That Poppy TV, a channel that has since been deleted because who amongst us doesn't hate the first few projects we've ever put out? Although if you go to my YouTube channel, they're all still there. We had a good laugh about them the other day, actually. But
early listeners of this podcast, soak it in now because these episodes will probably be deleted in the future.
They won't, baby. I'm at a point of my content creation career where I'm like, if I put out a shitter, I just gotta eat that. That's just gotta sit in the library as a reminder, like, hey, this ain't you. This ain't.
That's fair.
I'm not seeing the man in the mirror that I want to see, but we're gonna make ourselves look at it. So. Moving forward with Poppy, though, around 2013, she did get with a director that I forgot to write the name down of. I want to say their name was Sinclair. Could be 100% wrong on that, though. But they got with the director, and they started to make more abstract YouTube videos. So they were... If you think of very early 2010s content creation, very millennial humor based, where it was just a lot of skits that kind of made you stand out for being different or weird. Now, it wasn't just a look at me, I'm not like other girls type of thing. Like it was legitimately like just creative abstract ideas, but that's kind of where she started to get her minuscule amounts of internet fame, using themes of being different or strange in a way that is meant to pique interest, almost like Tim Burton meets Andy Warhol kind of thing.
Where so it wasn't like a LOL so random, like look at me, kooky, weird.
The bacon actually... narwhals at midnight type shit. None of that. Okay. It was legit. Like, again, the best way I can describe it is if you mash together a love child of Tim Burton and Andy Warhol, because those two within their respective crafts were, I mean, Tim Burton speaks for itself. You don't know who Tim Burton is. Nightmare Before Christmas, just works with Johnny Depp a ton, if that tells you anything. Like, he's just a weird dude in the best way possible. Alice in Wonderland, just a weird dude in all the best ways possible. And then Andy Warhol painted a bunch of Campbell's soup cans, so you know he's got it. But here's the next question I have for you. Here's the first question. So you know the phrase jack of all trades, right?
Yeah.
Do you know the full phrase, the extended version, the director's cut of that phrase?
I don't. I thought that was it. I thought that was the extended version.
So we get the Omega dumbed down version, and then what people will push their glasses up and actually you with is this. It's a jack of all trades, but a master of none. So that's what you'll get hit with. That's not even the full thing, though. It's a jack of all trades, but master of none, but it's still better than a master of one. So it really just kind of keeps coming full circle on you. The clock keeps turning type thing. But it does make me want to ask you, because we're going to keep getting into Poppy here, obviously, and how different she is and how many. Her whole genesis as a creator is just mashing together a bunch of different ideas, or in terms of music, a bunch of different genres, and seeing what she can create out of that, not sticking to the boundaries of a specific genre or rock as a whole and things like that. So do you think that as an artist, strictly speaking, as a musical artist or band, do you think that it is better to be a jack of all trades or a master of one?
I'm definitely going to go jack of all trades. And we've talked about this before. Someone who's a master of one, if you really, really, really like their sound and they stick to what they do best and what they know best, I still think that gets boring after a while. Even if it's really, really, really good, if you get the same thing over and over and over again, to me, anyway, that's boring. Other people will find it great. It's comforting. You know, this is new but familiar and I like it. Me personally, I love the switch up. I'll get to that when we start talking about the music here, but I like that not every song sounds the same on here. I like that not every song is the same genre. So it's one of my favorite things. This is the second time I brought it up on this podcast, but Foo Fighters are the perfect example of that. Dave Grohl is so talented. He's a multi-instrumentalist, vocalist. He's so good. All right. So no disrespect to one of the best musicians out there, but the Foo Fighters, most of the songs that I've heard anyway, they sound the same, but they're the master at it. They know how to put out songs that people like, get the radio play, get stuck in your head. But to me, it all sounds the same. I'll take the other option.
But what if I say I'm not like the others? What if I say not just
I love Everlong. That's it, right?
Yeah, City dunks the alley-oop. Let's go. Okay, so I'll blow through the rest of Poppy's background here real quick and we get into the actual music. But
can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Never mind. You might answer it. I was going to ask how old she is. You said that she started YouTube in 2010.
30. She was actually born on New Year's Day. So pretty easy to keep track of. So New Year's Day, 1995. So she is 30 years old, which is, if you look at her and kind of see her demeanor, it does and does not make sense because she looks younger. Not like 20 or 18 younger, but like mid 20s, you would reasonably guess. But her demeanor and the way her confidence kind of carries her through her music, and how you can just kind of get an aura from her, which I know is a shitty way of saying it because not everybody cares to or can kind of judge somebody just off of an idea of them. But I think she presents herself in a very mature manner while still looking like she's super young. But she is 30.
Gotcha.
So
cool.
So her first EP, which was, I believe, called Bubble Bath, it was meant to your point of always trying to sound a little different. It was meant to hit more of a dance, poppy, no pun intended, but pop-like punk style. And then right after that EP, she swiftly moved on to her second album, which I believe was called... I dead-ass didn't write this down, huh? I'm a bad podcaster. I believe it's called Sounds to Sleep To. And basically what that album did is it was more of a ambient experience, I guess is the best way to put it. So almost kind of like how we talked about Deftones last week, where they were just kind of an ethereal nothing. I'll be so honest. I'm trying to just stall while I find the name of this goddamn album. It is called Music to Sleep To. I was just right. I was just correct the first time. So it is more of an ambient, almost ASMR centric experience where I'm pretty sure every single one of the songs has no lyrics to it. It's just all ambient sounds, and not quite to the extent of, you know, the rainforest, rain, all that kind of stuff, but it's similar to it. It's meant to be a background experience that, well, puts you to sleep. And I said that Deftones could take a few notes from Music to Sleep To. I wrote the album down right there if I would have just read my stupid note. As the entire album was, as advertised, meant to put you in a trance-like state or even get you to melt away into your own consciousness. So now I know, obviously, without lyrics and whatnot, it's hard to, you know, make people feel one way or another. But I listened to a few of the songs on it while I was working today. Honestly, she has that. She has Music to Scream To. She has a few albums or EPs that are called Music to Blank To.
Okay.
And they're perfect. I there wouldn't be much to review with those because they're just instrumentals, but I think those are very worth whatever the mood that it says they are supposed to be.
I'm scrolling through Spotify right now. There's also music to read to.
So I mentioned that later somewhere in here, I think, but yeah,
sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
No, that's good because I really only make a quick note of it. But so she's done all of that. She's even worked with Comedy Central for years on a series called Internet Famous with Poppy. So she's very coded into that YouTube content creator, how do I get noticed, ooh, senpai type shit. And then if we get more into the modern day and we begin to dive a little bit deeper in the late 2010s, she starts to get into a lot more concepts of self-identity, which is what we're going to hear a little bit about with Negative Spaces. So not to keep jumping back and forth, but her second album, which is called Am I a Girl, is not so shockingly full of themes of questioning her own identity as a whole, even down to, her own gender and what each label we're assigned at birth and through the rest of societal standards means to us. And in her case, in the album's her. Now she has since come out and said that she identifies as a woman and all of that, but believes that everybody should challenge all of those ideas and ideals and kind of create out of life what makes sense to you, right? Obviously, we say it all the time. There's a game to be played within societal norms, but in a industry that begs that, God, it just on its hands and knees, hands in the air, one more serving of creativity these days. Poppy is certainly not shy of that. So, just a few more quick things before we get into Negative Spaces. She announced a graphic novel back in 2019. Which tells the origin story of Poppy. I believe that was announced with the Music to Read To album, so I think those two things go hand in hand. Actually, the album I Disagree was released with the graphic novel titled Music to Read To. Again, breaking away from the traditional music as a whole and going more towards almost like a video game soundtrack theme with music that's meant to be purely background and not distract you from what you're doing. So I personally think I've learned that Poppy is a melting pot of the finest ingredients that music could offer. You kind of just boil it down to an experimental dish of pure bliss wrapped in the most obscure and abstract themes that could leave a sour taste to new listeners, or it could soothe your palate to all genre listeners all the same. And she cites inspirations from all over. J-pop, K-pop. Obviously, we talked about her with Baby Metal a few weeks back. Reggae, Elvis Presley. And to go with the King of Rock, 9 Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie, Jimmy Eat World, and Madonna, to name just a few more.
You're naming all these, and they're making a lot of sense that she takes inspiration from so many different places.
But they're all so different. Not so different, obviously, like Manson, Zombie, 9 Inch Nails, like they're relatively the same. Maybe not Marilyn Manson, but it kind of shows you the range that Poppy is able to have here. So, Negative Spaces. This is the album we're here to talk about today. This album released on November 15th, 2024. And I know we give credence to and against this, but Poppy had a hand, at least in a collaborative effort, if not solo, on every single song, writing the lyrics. So if you're looking for an artist who is ingrained into the process, not just the final piece of being the talent that is shown on the camera or on the microphone, Poppy very much so ensures that her projects are infused with her ideas. Do you think that is something for an artist that is so genre lacking almost? Do you think that making sure that if you think you're a one of one mental talent like her, do you think that that's something that plays into how good she seems to be, or is that something that could potentially stunt how good her music could end up being? What do you take about the idea that she makes sure that she is infused into all of her own product?
No, I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's being like too controlling or anything like that. I don't think it's going to hold her back, because from what you've told me anyway, it sounds like she does what she wants. If she wants to make a song that sounds more electronic, she's going to. If she wants something where she screams through the entire thing, she's going to do it. So in her case, no, I don't think it's hindering anything, and I think it's working out for her. I was actually going to ask you that because we talked about Baby Metal a couple of weeks ago. those three girls are not involved in the songwriting process,
Right.
at least not all the time. And I was actually going to ask you, if you came across that in your research, how involved Poppy actually is, because she could be so talented that she plays all the instruments and everything as well, but I don't think so, especially not live. You know, she's got a band with her and everything. I couldn't help but notice when I was listening on Spotify, because I know I wasn't supposed to do any research, but listening to it on the desktop, it tells you like some of the writers and producers and things. I don't know if it's on every song from Negative Space, but I saw Jordan Fish on there, who is the former Bring Me the Horizon keyboardist and their songwriter, or, you know, he helped at least. So I didn't know how involved she actually was with names like that, a backing band behind her. It's actually kind of nice that she's involved and wants to make sure she's a part of that process. I think it's working out.
Heavily, and like you said, Jordan Fish is mentioned front to back on this album too, which is kind of very quickly able to be heard in a lot of this music. And I agree. I think that she also rides that very fun line, almost like we talked about with Baby Metal, where she brings in, I mean, there's not really any features on. Actually, I don't think there's a damn feature on this one. There is not.
Not that I saw anyway.
But you can tell that there is inspiration, collaboration from other people within the creative process. So I think it's amazing that she's able to be involved to the extent that she is, because if it's your product, you, in theory, would want your name stamped all over it. But is clearly not scared to allow other people to take the driver's seat and help her realize what her vision is. So I think it's a stark combination. Yeah. I think it's a stark change from Baby Metal in terms of she clearly is the one that's in the driver's seat. Like, hey, this is my fucking car. You can drive it on occasion, but I'm going to tell you how, kind of. But also being like, hey, you can drive the car, though. Like, I'm not going to, I'll be a passenger princess every once and again here. But I do agree. I think that only complements the styles that she's able to bring up. So this is her 6th studio album, and just to give you an idea of what you're really looking out for on this is the genres that it is kind of listed as encompassing. And this isn't even all of them, but it encompasses metalcore, alt rock, arena rock, while still weaving in fabrics from other genres like pop, electronica, synth pop, grunge, space rock, which I thought was just the moon. I thought it was just the moon.
I love listening to alien bands.
Which she kind of portrays herself as a lot. In her old YouTube videos, she used to portray herself as like an android, essentially. So some semblance of an extraterrestrial life form, or, you know, at least not human, right? So it's not like that would be a totally foreign concept to her.
I was going to ask you about that. You said a graphic novel about Poppy's background or Poppy's life. Does that mean that Poppy is a character that she plays technically? Or is it like an autobiography? You know, I'm just curious about what that graphic novel was actually about, because maybe it's both. Maybe she's like coming up with her own backstory or something like that in a graphic novel format. But either way, I mean, it kind of shows that her creativity goes beyond just the musical side of things. And
yeah,
you know, she's branching out. Well, obviously, because she started on YouTube doing the big music thing, now graphic novels.
And you would almost wonder if like maybe one day she even like writes her own actual book or some shit like that. Like, it seems like this is not the only creative outlet that she has. I believe though that the graphic novel, visual novel, whatever you want to call it, is based on a character named Poppy, not actual Mariah Rose Perea, which is her real name, by the way. But I think it's like I think it's supposed to be of like her online internet famous android persona thing rather than her herself. Okay. But I wouldn't be shocked to understand that, like, you know, experiences of hers tie into some of the themes, at least, even if not in factual, you know, actually what's going on there. But
I have to make a correction, because when you were listening to the albums, and I have them here, you asked what my experience was with Poppy. I did listen to this album when it came out in November, like twice, but we talked about active listening versus just passive listening. I threw it on, you know, let it play. That was pretty much it. I didn't really pay too much attention. Same thing for her album called I Disagree, which was the other song that I was trying to think of that I have on the regular playlist. And I did listen to Am I a Girl, but I can't remember anything from it. And that's not, I'm not meaning that as like an insult. It was just one of those, again, threw it on in the background. It played through. That was pretty much it. So that was my extent when it came to Poppy. Was, I guess, those two songs each stood out to me from those two albums, got added to the playlist. But other than that, yeah, when I listen to Negative Spaces this time, instead of just having it on in the background while I'm working or like doing dishes or whatever, I actually paid attention to a lot of the songs on here and had it going in the background at other times. So yeah, just making that slight correction. I don't want to lie to the people who listen. There is a little bit more of a background than what I originally said.
If we lie to you, keep it hush. No, we didn't. You'll be all right. No, that is a man of integrity there, though, and we can only respect that. Yeah. So what I think is so interesting about this album, as opposed to past Poppy projects, say that 5 times fast, is there is a lot. This album, I would almost say, stays much more to what we think of as traditional metal than any other album she has, period, front to back. Anyway, I'm sure there's obviously songs here and there. My favorite song on this album, which we'll get into in a minute, hardly classifies as metal. It just doesn't, and I'm okay with that. But that brings me to this exact point right here. Now, Mr. Ryan.
Yeah.
We are we're no strangers, rather, to the subconscious effects of a human voice to our psyche. Now, I'm sure you come home, long day at work, maybe you punched your boss in the face, got fired, who knows? Probably wouldn't be you, but that'd be really funny. And you come home, you're sad, you're a little pissed, whatever, and you hear your lovely wife's voice, and I'm sure that is an instant battery recharge. This is home, this is love, this is good, this is family type thing, right? Yeah. Audio listeners, he is just staring. He is just staring daggers into the camera.
Of course. Only joking.
But yeah, that's my point. So there's certain vocal tones, much like mine, which makes everybody happy, and I understand that that's a power that I wield. But my point here being is what I think Poppy does very uniquely is a really, really insanely good mix of harsher screams to downright melodic, not whispers, but that voice flows through. It's so soft on the ears. It's just beautiful. It's symphonic almost. It's a beautiful voice. But that brings me to this point. Poppy does a lot of yelling on this album, a lot of screaming on this album. Now, I have since been labeled a sucker for an alt-rock, I almost said alt-rock mommy. An alt-right, young, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Republican woman. No. An alt-rock mommy that knows how to know, what do they say? Lady in the street, freak in the sheets type thing, right? And that seems to be exactly the kind of vibe that Poppy brings. I'm about it. But here's what I'm going to say. The screaming, it is good. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's bad. It just is. But as I continue to go on my own musical vocal journey for the cover that we'll release in the next 5 years, I am learning exactly where those kind of sounds come from in your body. And it's just a matter of where you're positioning your throat, how you're speaking from your diaphragm as opposed to the back of your throat or your nasal or whatever, right? And a lot of it is just, it's almost the same concept as clearing your throat, right? Like, how much rumble do you hear and feel when you're clearing your throat? That's kind of where screaming comes from. And Poppy, while she is clearly blowing that shit out, hitting it raw mish in the dark and blowing its back out, she is going after the screams. But I don't think that it's my favorite vocal styling. And before you give your take on this, here's what I'm thinking. Is the screams are great, and they actually very much so fit the style of music that she's doing, because a lot of these songs are very hardcore. But it almost feels like she is just screaming very loudly rather than hitting the appropriate way to hit those screams. What do you make of that?
I agree, and I'm not going to pretend that I know everything about the vocal technique. I've looked into it at times. One, because I've tried to learn how, and I hurt my throat every single time. Two, we've heard about people, your favorite artist, M Shadows, who blew out his vocals, and I think Ollie from Bring Me the Horizon has done the same. And I know that there's a good, safe way to do it.
Yeah.
I know that just a raw screaming. That's how a lot of people found out how to do it. To me, she sounds like it's more of like that raw scream, like you said. I'm
Yeah,
worried that maybe one day she's going to end up blowing her voice out. I don't know.
exactly.
But here's also my unfortunate problem. I think you can sometimes tell a difference between someone who's just screaming for the emotion side of things versus someone who's doing the proper technique. Again, when I say these things and do these comparisons, I never mean disrespect to the bands. Just throwing that out there. You got bands like Silent Planet or I Prevail, where they have their harsh vocalists. Dance Gavin Dance, even they're doing it the safe way. Still sounds good. But yeah, when you're doing it the other way, I think just the emotion and the feeling behind it is higher. And I think that's where Poppy's at now. I could be wrong. Maybe she is doing a proper technique, and just because of her natural voice, that's how it comes across. I don't know, but I like it. I like the way that it sounds. I don't know. I know I've referenced it already. I don't know if you watched that Jimmy Kimmel performance of her with Knocked Loose, but man, it just seemed like she was just going after it on stage, and she sounded really good.
I think you actually nailed it near the end there, where I think she is doing proper technique because she clearly puts a ton of care into her work. But I think it is just her natural voice because, like you said, there's a way where you're just fucking yelling. You're just yelling. And then there's a way where you're supposed to hit the correct timbre in your voice. It's almost like the center's falling out. Like that kind of, like that all came from the back of my throat. That didn't hurt my chest. That didn't hurt my neck at all. As opposed to just screaming like James Hetfield. Yeah. Like that, yeah, like that rasped me out a little bit. And that obviously I didn't warm up to do that at all today. So take that information for what you will. But there's two different ways of doing it. Again, there's that low, and then there's whatever else that like I said, James Hetfield. So I just thought that was curious because, like I said, I think she actually rides that line very well. I still really like the vocals, but I thought being able to hear, there was just a rare occasion where hearing that distinct difference, it like drew me out of the song, not even in a bad way, but it like drew me out of listening to the song a bit and was like, how can we make this better for you? Because it feels like to me that and I'm not going to call it an issue because it's just good, but I wonder if fixing the tone, again, fixing's a fucked up word, but just changing the tone, refining, I think is the way to say it, refining the tone that she's able to get. I think she has the right attitude. I think she has the right aura. I think she has the right style for all of this music. But there was like a 2% something on this whole album that was missing for me to give it like a proper 9 out of 10. And I think that's it. So I'm not saying take something bad and make it good. I'm saying take something good and make it better.
No, I get it. We talked about Deftones last week. There's a Deftones song off their self-titled album called Hexagram. And you didn't get to hear Chino screams really on this new album. He just doesn't do it anymore. He still does it live, but they didn't do it in these kind of songs that they made for this new album. But that song Hexagram, you can like hear his voice when he's screaming, like almost fading in and out, like crackling, and it's almost like, brother, you're gonna blow your vocal cords out. He might have after that song, but yeah, you almost kind of wonder. Let's hope that kind of stuff doesn't happen. Maybe like you said, take something good and make it better, refine it a little bit. But yeah, I still liked it.
Yeah, because that's what and again, I am far from anything in that realm. I just so happen to look up a few YouTube videos and have a naturally gifted voice where I could do things like that. And you know what? I'll peel the curtain back. For while Ryan was talking, I muted my microphone and was trying to do a quick warm up to do the sounds. I need more than a quick warm up, it turns out. But one of these days on the microphone, you guys will get a real one out of me, and we'll see where I'm at on it. But that is almost what I'm fearful for, is if you keep going down that kind of road, do you change your vocals up? Do you blow your chords out? Do you this, that, the other? And especially because I just think, I don't know, but I'm not going to dwell on that too long because I still think the sound is an A-. It's still very peak. The way she hits all of her notes, got no complaints. So I know what my favorite song on this album is. I'm just going to get right down to the nitty gritty. What is your favorite album on this song on this album?
It's hard because it was They're All Around Us. I like that it's heavy. I like that she does the blech that you hear in a lot of metal songs now. but I think it shifted after listening to the whole album. I really liked Have You Had Enough? Just the opener. I think it's a great opening. And there are a couple songs in here because she does the electronic thing. This is going to be oddly specific. But when I was a kid, do you remember those really bad, so bad they're good Mortal Kombat movies that came out in the 90s?
Yes.
I had their soundtracks, and their soundtracks was like that industrial electronic rock, like Rammstein and KMFDM and all of these just electronic mixed with rock kind of stuff. And Have You Had Enough and a couple other ones on there kind of reminds me of that sound, and it made me feel nostalgic listening to it. So Have You Had Enough is really, really good. I'm not going to mention the one that is your favorite, but that's also in a top 3 for me. And The Center's Falling Out is also really, really, really good. I like that one a lot. There's another one that's probably in my top 5. I'm going to mention later on why I like it. It's Vital. Well, I want to come back to it because I don't. I don't know. Some people might hate the reason that I like it. But
okay. Well, hold on now. Because let's just get into it then. Because this is a song that when I re-listened to the album a few times, because I had a number of these songs already downloaded to like my liked playlist. I had Have You Had Enough? They're All Around Us. The Center's Falling Out, and then my favorite that we'll get to in a minute. But when I came back to listening to this, what I really like is Vital is right after the song that I like the most, and the way that those two songs lead into each other, it's just pretty. It's just so gentle on the ears. It invites you in. And then Vital, it's a different tempo while still being a very happy enough, upbeat, I guess is the better way to say it, kind of song. I really, really, really like that. Vital, I actually literally, as we're speaking, just added it to my liked songs, but I came back to that one and thought it was an absolute banger. So what are we on here? Why is this vital to you?
Okay, don't hate me for saying this. I just compared a couple of her songs to like Mortal Kombat, the industrial type electronic sound. Oh gosh, Vital reminds me of, okay, I grew up listening to a lot of Christian rock bands, and I went to Winter Jam free like every year. If anyone out there doesn't know Winter Jam, it's a yearly concert that they do where it's 10 Christian bands. You pay $10 to get in the door. You sit wherever you want in the arena because they're in big like arena tours and stuff like that. I'm not a fan of them anymore, but I used to really like Skillet. So on the years that Skillet would headline, that like I would go. This is why I said stay with me here. But
I'm only laughing because at some point we were all fans of Skillet. Whether it's the Nickelback effect. Whether we wanted to admit it or not, we liked a few Skillet songs.
I'm just Awaken Alive, great song. I still like it. Pretty much anything past like 2013 to me is just horrible. But old Skillet, I still love it. But anyway, when I would go see bands like that were headlining, there were always 9 other artists I'd never heard of. And there was always one big Christian pop rock hit that was touring at the time. And they had an earworm song that would get stuck in your head, and it's just the way that the chorus sounds. The underneath, you've been a man. I'm at Winter Jam right now. It's definitely not the same lyrics. It's definitely not the same. Like the rest of the album's not the same, but that's where it took me back to. And I like it. It's a familiar place for me, so I enjoy it for that reason.
What's crazy to me is actually while you're explaining that I didn't listen to too many Christian bands growing up. I probably just heard like the big bangers from all the notable ones, but I can see where that comparison's coming from. And what I'm learning here as I'm reading the lyrics for this song is, was it Baby Metal that every song we were just like, this sounds so happy. And then it's not.
It's not at all.
It's just not. Like this one, this isn't quite as devastating as Baby Metal lyrics, but it's underneath, over me, we're spinning in a spiral. You hold me in a vicious cycle. You lie to me casually, and I'm dying in denial. It still feels vital. It's not happy.
Definitely not happy.
It's certainly not happy, but it's good. It doesn't matter because you listen to her sing them and you're like, oh my God, marry me. And I'll make dinner. I don't give a shit. I'll clean the house. I'll bear the children in my womb. Don't give a shit. Just so I agree. I think that the whole tone of that song is a beautiful reprieve. I can't even say reprieve because not every song on here is just like a hardcore thrash it out banger. But it hits at a right spot in the album too, where it's like you just heard "Have You Had Enough?" They're all around us, so on and so forth. You start to groove into the middle of the album a little bit, where it's just trying to keep your attention, keep you flowing through at a good pace. And I think that's a song that, at the point of the album it's in, and just listening to it as a standalone song, you'll find some sort of enjoyment in the song, no matter what scenario you're listening to it with. So
definitely, and like you said, coming right after Crystallized too, it's really good. And I'm just gonna say this: the only song that I don't like on this album is Push Go, the one that comes right after it.
Really?
I don't like it.
Okay.
I'm not into it. I think the intro is really good, the verse is good, but that chorus, again, no disrespect, it sounds like something that would play over a car commercial. It's like,
Shoot,
we survived.
you're kind of right.
0% APR, new Nissan Altima, and you hear that chorus playing in the background. I just, I'm not into it. It's not my favorite.
I think I'm going to disagree with that. I think it has relatively, I don't know. Crystallize, Vital, and Push Go are different pages of the same book in my mind, right? Where like they all have a similar idea of being like a little bit more upbeat, uptone than some of the other parts. And now again, lyrically, probably not, as we just kind of learned with Vital, but they all kind of fit that softer tone. I'm going to keep saying happiness, even though I know that's not right, but that happier tone to it. And I think Push Go, I don't know that I would say car commercial, but I could definitely see this being like on like this could be like a Disney Channel original band song, like the Naked Brothers band song or something like that.
I was gonna say Disney Channel and thought car commercial was nicer.
Yeah. And maybe it is. So maybe I just damned it further, but I could definitely see it being one of those. So I see what you're saying, but I don't know. I think it still scratches that proper itch for being a happier song amongst the chaos that is. But to go back to the song before Vital, that would be known as Crystallized. Now, it is no secret to Ryan, at least, or maybe even any of you, because I've talked about it a number of times in other album reviews. I think Crystallized is... It hardly qualifies as a rock song. I guess it technically has to. It's on new metal. Like you said, I'm not hip and up to date on all the different types of metal and all that and what they all mean. But
I ain't got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. So I'm assuming that this falls into some sort of rock or metal technically. I'm not going to sit here and defend it to the death that it is. But it's on this album, so I get to talk about it. And that means that I think this is such a beautifully composed song. Oh my god, from the first time I heard this song, it has never been a question what my favorite song on this album is. Not even remote. This is the first song I downloaded from the album. I think it does not have the most plays on the album, but it has the third most behind The Cost of Giving Up and They're All Around Us, which are two insanely good songs, so take that for what it is. It has 8.2 million listens on Spotify. It's a certified grade A center cut USDA choice of fucking banger. Great song. I think if you were to dress up in like all silver leather and get some glow sticks, maybe some big aviator sunglasses, turn all the lights off, turn the strobe lights on, and you're off the molly at a rave, just going, just making color and shit. This is that kind of vibe. It is just like a sway back and forth and just let life happen around you kind of vibe to me. Now, I'm gonna list some of the lyrics here, and I'm reading these. I'm learning these live as we're learning them live. So we'll see if we think what the theme of this song. We'll see.
Time to play Happy or Sad.
Time to play Happy or Sad with Poppy on Negative Spaces. The song is Crystallized, which we have described as an LSD-fueled, blissful rant of beauty on the emotions. And here we go with the chorus. Maybe it's a heaven sign. Let the angel's fate decide. Because my heart is full of diamonds. Maybe it was perfect timed. All my tears have crystallized, and I'll never be alone again. So I obviously knew those lyrics because they're very easy to hear. So I didn't read anything that we wouldn't have known. But even here, we got, I'm predisposed to feeling low, to feeling lost, uncomfortable. You've got a subtle glow, ethereal. You've got me in a state of mind. So to me, this song feels like the theme is exactly what the aura of the song tries to make it, right? Like the lyrics and the flow of the instrumentals and the way she flows her voice kind of quickly but still melodic through it. It feels like it's a journey of the mental self where you are just kind of zip zooming your way through your own brain, almost again to the theme of looking like a Tron background in the computer that is your mind, while trying to figure out and create what your own identity is. What makes you tick? What are you scared of? Why are you scared of it? Does it matter? Does it not matter? Who decides your fate? Are you getting these signs? Will you ever be alone again? All of these lyrics and the flow of the song, to me, mesh so perfectly. What say you?
Is it a hopeful song? Is it I was sad before and now I'm getting through it? My tears have crystallized. I won't be alone anymore. I'm not good with lyrics. This is like one of my worst suits when it comes to music. I'm not good with writing them. I'm not good with interpreting them, and I'm not good to understanding them. You were like, "Oh yeah, that chorus. It's very easy to remember." I remember vocals, but I don't remember the words. If that makes sense, it's like another instrument to me, which is why like I can play the melody in my head, but I don't know the words to them. So now that I'm reading through them for the first time right now, is it a nice, like almost uplifting song?
So I usually do the same thing, right? I usually just kind of hear the flow of it and decide what I think the song means before I dive into the lyrics. But let me read these lyrics and see if I'm not trying to sway you one way or another. I just think this might actually help. The very first verse is, I've never been too good at love, but I'll wring my eyes dry. Because if I never get back up, I'll regret what wasn't mine. It sounds hopeful. It sounds like a new beginning. Pulling
like
yourself by your
bad
bootstraps.
Things were happening before, and she's getting through it.
Yeah, through it. Or at least, even if there's no true conclusion to it, it's... Oh, actually, no, literally, no. Bang. See ya. Bye. Okay. Well, maybe this is growing up because I don't want to die. Remember, I was sad before. Now I don't remember why. That's hope.
You know what? Even if we're interpreting it all wrong, most artists are like, I wrote it for this reason, interpret it however you want it. That's how I'm going to interpret it. That's my interpretation. It's hopeful. It's coming back from a dark time.
Yeah. So I think, which is crazy because let's immediately dive into some other lyrics here from this album, right? Because the general thought of this album, it's, I don't want to say dark, but chaotic, I think is the right word. So this is from They're All Around Us. It's when your spirit's black and blue and the heroes all desert you, will you curse what's coming true, and the hate won't count you out. It'll leave you in the shadows. They're all around us. That's demonic. That's summoning circle. You're stuck in the pit. We're talking an old Renaissance 1400s painting where every demon looks like a goat and its penis is hanging out. That is the picture I get from that. That is not hope.
So with the enemies being all around, maybe wanting to give up, next comes crystallized. You're working your way through your demons, through the bad things. I don't know, man. I'm bad at lyrics.
Well, here's more from Vital, actually. Maybe I already read these, so if I apologize if I did. Will it end in tears? Will I let the fear win? Take the ride or die while trying? Have I seen it all? Why am I so divisive? I can't fight it. Followed by... No, wait, that's Push Go. That's not what I wanted. But either way, so... It is clearly, as I said earlier, the theme of the album is an exploration of the self. So you do kind of get all stages of grief in here where you are questioning. Well, first off, you're letting yourself acknowledge and feel the fear of what is around, whatever your demons are, whether they're physical, mental, spiritual, whatever, acknowledging them and then figuring out why those things make you feel the way you do. And then finding a way with songs like Crystallize, finding a way past them, or at least that next step of, okay, I am now in control of my demons. How do I get them to go away? Because I'm not going to let them bother me anymore. And just to let me share a little personal, right? So we've been content creators for a long time. You've known me through my good, my bad, my ugly. I, from the years of roughly 2020, honestly, through now, but more so really 2022 through now, I did a lot of soul searching in life. Like what made me, and more importantly, what did I want to allow to make me? What made my internal clock tick, and was I going to continue to allow it to do so? What were my fears in life? Was it commitment? Was it the fear of never making it in content creation? Was it losing all of my friends, feeling irrelevant, feeling like a placeholder? Was it the fear of failure? What was it that made me fall into a bout of depression so bad in 2022 that there was seemingly no way out? Built into 2023, where and this is terrible, because this is the worst physical advice you could ever give somebody, and I promise there were months and years of work put into before this. But on New Year's Day of 2023, I decided I'm just not gonna be sad anymore. It's not gonna do it. So I decided that I was gonna figure out why those things made me feel the ways they did, and what was going to make me happy. How were my tears going to crystallize? And then, of course, in 2024 and now 2025, I'm the best version of myself. I found my happiness to the same theme of crystallize, where it's, yes, there are moments of doubt, there are moments of demons around you, there are moments of whatever where things are just not going to be peachy keen. But are you going to let those moments now define you? Or, since you've already been through the struggle, are you going to create a version of yourself that is impenetrable? And that story is what I feel this entire album portrays, which is perhaps why I resonate with it so personally, because I think it does tell, again, a story of success wrapped in the inner workings of the chaos that created it. So I don't know what overall theme and vibe you got from this album, but there is definitely a lot of that. There's more chaos than there is good, but there's plenty of good on the back end of it still.
I don't think I got to think about it as much, because my dumb brain was just like, ooh, she's getting heavier. This is nice. I like this. But the way you were describing the themes and just sitting here listening to it, even if it wasn't the overall theme of the album, just the first 5 songs, 5 or 6, like you mentioned, I can absolutely see it. That's something I'll have to go back and actually pay attention to the lyrics to, in like the centers falling out, negative spaces. I'm pretty familiar with New Way Out, and the way that you described everything, I think it kind of fits. I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head as far as the overall themes and feelings you get from this. So I think there's a lot of emotion behind it. I don't think that it was just generically written. I don't think that's probably not her style, just to say, let's put another song on here. We need another type of this song, or, let me throw these lyrics together really quick. So I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Now I'm curious, looking back. I was going to ask you about this anyway, because until we started doing this podcast, I didn't think about it before, but you brought to my attention how people close albums, what the ending of the story is. And I like Halo. I like that there's a build to it. It starts off kind of softer, and it builds up a little bit. Even if it doesn't get heavy, there's still a build, in my opinion. But now I'm curious what those lyrics are about. What's the conclusion, going into it? So I guess I can ask you, what's your thoughts on the closing track? And should we go through those lyrics as well, maybe to see how she ends it?
So wait it out. The road is winding narrow. It's all you have. I know you can't turn back now. I'll follow where your light goes, because they don't know what we know. I just picked that's the chorus, but I just picked a random set of lyrics. I never looked up the lyrics to this before. I just did this right now. To me, as a blind reaction, I think that does kind of signify an open ending, but with a light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. So it seems like as you go through the album, again, we're going through those stages of grief where it's, what the hell in life is making me so scared of it, all the way to, now I know what it is, what do I do about it, to, okay, now you're not, this is my body is a temple and I will take care of it, to okay, now at the end here, I understand all the things around. Let's follow our light. Let's see where it goes, because they don't know what we know. It seems like a proper conclusion to what I assume, or at least what I have interpreted the artist's journey as. So I think in terms of theme and story, at least from reading the chorus there. I think it's great. A live and learn lesson, a lover's edition. It's hanging on because I trust. It's easier than giving up. 1,000,001 reasons, and I'm full of ambition, and they're gawking as we keep it hush. Question raising, what's, what? Look at us. So I think the theme of it, perfect. Nailed it, 10 out of 10, knocked it out of the park. As a song, as an ending song, theme's great. As a song as a whole, it's not my favorite,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not going to say it outright suffers from the same thing I accuse so many other albums of doing, which is taking the quote unquote easy way out and just kind of like, here's the ending of the story. Let's cradle cradle you into the grave. But it's certainly not that kick the door the fuck back open the way we came in type thing. So I think it could have stood better to maybe be a little more hardcore. But then does the point of the song shine through? If so, I'm willing to allow it to stand as a good song for its theme and messaging with the lyrics that I just read. As a standalone song, it's okay. It's not bad. I'm not going to say it's good, great. It's okay.
Yeah. Right there in the middle.
Yeah, I'd say so.
You can see it.
Okay, so what are some of the... My voice is not cracked like that since I was 13 years old. My goodness me. What kind of peaks... Wow, my face is bright red. What are some of the accolades that Poppy has? Now, for anybody unaware, usually this part of the program, Ryan takes care of it because he's the research guy, the teacher, the one that Google better than me. But I have a few. I don't know if any of them are worth a damn or they're weight in gold. But this album reached top 5 on the US Heat Seekers album Billboard. It reached top 10 on the UK rock and metal albums, and it reached top 25 on the top hard rock albums Billboard. Now,
nice.
Very, random assortment of things for sure. But I mean, a top 5, a top 10, and a top 25 anywhere on the map, especially as a solo artist. I mean, I know she plays with a band and all of that, obviously. Poppy is more of an idea than just the person. But essentially as a solo artist, somebody who is so involved in their own creative process, somebody who jumps around genres a la whack-a-mole style, just kind of bopping the head of whichever one makes sense at the moment. I think that is insanely impressive. Somebody that doesn't specialize in one thing like that, I would think would have such a hard time bursting into the top of the scene like that. So I only wrote down 3. I'm sure there were plenty more, but I think even those 3 accolades alone are impressive.
Well, you know what I think it is sometimes you get people that try to switch genres or do something new and you hear it and it's not bad. And that's the thing that most people say, wow, it's actually pretty good. Wow, I guess that's actually not terrible. When Poppy went from doing more just pop oriented music or electronic and then she switched to this rock metal thing, it's not a wow, that's actually pretty good. It's just good. Like it just straight up sounds good. There's no like, oh wow, I'm surprised coming from a pop background, she blah blah. No, it's just good music. She just does a good job with it.
It's almost like, because like you said, whenever other artists or bands try to do something like this, they're clearly dipping their toes into a different pool. But when Poppy does it, it almost sounds like every house she steps into could be her home. Every genre she tries could be her main, right? Like, no matter what she seems to do on the microphone, to me anyway, is relatively flawless, or at the very minimum gets the point across of what each genre and style is supposed to do for her. So I think, to give my rating on this, I think what makes the album so special is, and honestly, that story that I kind of equated to myself there, I didn't take the time to think about that until I said it out loud. So whenever you responded by saying, I didn't really like think about it that heavily or this, that, the other, me neither. I just kind of, as we were reading lyrics and talking about it, I was like, this, maybe she got something here. But what I do think makes this album so special is that it could be viewed as an identity crisis that that obviously has a resolution or is on the road to a resolution by the end, but it's an identity crisis, but it feels more like she's continuing to create a limitless identity that is meant to work best when it doesn't have tangible boundaries by title anyway, right? If she's strictly stuck to alt rock or strictly stuck to metalcore, strictly stuck to K-pop, I don't think she'd be as good as she is. I think that would limit her, which is crazy because, again, usually when you think of artists trying to do so much, it just creates a whirlwind that they get sucked up in. But I think that chaos, I think it's a controlled chaos. I think Poppy needs that to be as successful as she is. So for this album, I actually didn't write down what my rating was. So off of the top of my head, I think 8.5. I think 8.5. I could be persuaded to give it a 9, but I think I'll stick with 8.5 because there's a few songs like Halo. Again, like I said, it's good for what it is. Don't love it. Push Go, I think it's okay. Don't love it. There's a couple other songs where it's like, okay, there's no stinkers on this album. Period. End of sentence. It's not even one that's like, yeah, I could force myself to listen to this. The worst song on this album is Halo for me. I say it's listenable. It's listenable. It's just it's fine. It's fine. I'm sure maybe I could think of a different song that's like that, but I'm going to stick with 8.5 and say that simply other than Halo, there's no songs on this album that I think I'd turn off. And even Halo probably wouldn't turn it off unless I'm just in the mood for something else. So I don't think there's anything on this album that you would necessarily turn off. I think there's a lot that you would seek out. For sure, like the Center's Falling Out, Crystallize, They're All Around Us, Have You Had Enough? Those are all songs that I have actively searched my own Spotify for before. So 8.5, I could be persuaded to go to a 9, but I think of all the albums we have reviewed thus far, I think it's the second best one. I think it's above a tick above Avenged Sevenfold for me. I think it's definitely above Linkin Park, Sleep Token. I think the only one that it's worse than is Baby Metal. So I think second place so far, 8.5 out of 10. Good album, good.
I noticed you didn't even mention Deftones. It's all right. I forgive you. No big deal.
I mentioned them earlier in my notes and say that they can take notes from Poppy.
I flashed my score up while you were looking away. I did an 8. So 8 out of 10 for me. Like you said, there's really no songs that are bad. I know I said Push Go was bad. I was exaggerating a little bit. I just don't like the chorus. I think it's very commercially, like you said, Disney Channel, which, fine, whatever. I'll still listen to it. I'm not going to skip it. But yeah, overall, it's an 8. Like I said before, she just does it well. The like coming over into the metal genre, she's done a good job with it. And it makes me excited for what she does next. Even if she doesn't go heavier, even if she doesn't stick with this sound, just knowing how good she is at blending genres and coming up with new things, I'm excited. I want to see what she does next. Except, I really do like all music. I can even find a couple country artists that I like. I hope she doesn't do country. That's like last on my list.
God, no. God, I would. Oh my God, my penis would shrivel up inside itself like a dog's penis. That would be so bad.
There are a couple country artists I can find that I can listen to, but that's my only hope. If she does, whatever, I'll still listen to it. But yeah, I'm excited for whatever comes next.
Yeah, I think that nails it. I think whatever comes next is only going to continue to grow. And video watchers, if we have any, if you notice, I've picked up a trend, partially in the last episode and definitely in this one, where I just move around a lot because I'm pretty restless and I'm, I have ADHD, so I just fidget a lot. But if I think about it in the middle of like stretching or something, you'll sometimes see me hit a pose, and there's a reason for that. And it's so I can find a good thumbnail picture from the both of us during the episode. So viewers, if you watch the video, you may occasionally see me just doing some dumb shit, and it's because I'm just trying to get a good thumbnail out of it. It makes my life easier.
Tell me that. What do you need me to do?
Honestly, we just happen to have a moment throughout every episode so far that just works. But I thought about it because I went like this earlier. I just like went to stretch my back and I just made like a very pained face while doing it. I was like, yeah, that could be. Yeah, exactly. So I'll just hit a few of those during the episode and see if maybe I'll remember to pick it out for a thumbnail later. But nice. That's behind the curtains for everybody. But an 8 and an 8.5. hardly anything negative to say about this space. Poppy's new album, Negative Spaces, from 2024 is an absolute banger. Front to back, tells an amazing story. Would highly recommend looking into the lyrics of it. Would highly recommend looking into Poppy's background as a whole, because like I said, I have a soft spot for those who come from the more traditional internet, online, content creation, YouTube, old school, all of that, because that's where we came from in so many ways. So I respect it. I love those stories. And she truly just seems like such an insanely unique individual that it would be a pleasure to deep dive into some of the inner workings of Poppy's mind. So I'm super excited to see what comes next. But what comes next for you lot is, I think, oh no, actually, what exactly? That's all, folks. No, it's not. We are going to have our first guest episode.
Yes.
Ryan and I will be joined next week. For you guys, for us, it'll be in 2 days. We are joined by friend of the podcast, content creator extraordinaire, Saul, the artist affectionately known as. And they, longtime friend, will be going over the band Foreskin, Maneskin. I don't know. He said, here's this Italian rock band. And then he said 8 different ways of pronouncing it. So I don't really know either, technically, but it's Mane Skin.
This is a first for us.
Yeah. I listened to 2 songs so far. Honestly, pretty good. Don't know really what else to expect.
Any yet. I've been so busy with Poppy that these next 2 days, I'm just going to, on repeat, just listen to Maneskin.
So strap up your skin and let us wear it alongside of you next week for Maneskin with the album Rush. And I believe it's the deluxe edition. It's called Rush, Are You Coming? Man, I'm just going to apologize in advance. Yeah, this is going to be a filthy episode. I'm just going to apologize in advance for the amount of obvious jokes that will be made. But such is life. So we will be doing that next week.
And I know nothing about that band, so our friend and guest is going to be explaining everything to us. We're going to listen to it. He'll do the explaining. I'm sure we'll look up some facts here and there that we can share as well. But yeah, this is new.
Yeah, we bring on a guest and say, yeah, run the show. Come on now, dance puppet.
We're baby metal over here. You come in, you run the show. You tell us what to do. We're
just the talent that got picked off the street to be in front of the camera, man. I don't know what you. I'm baby. So this was Poppy. That will be Maneskin. I'm Smiggy. This is
Ryan.
Thank you all for rocking with us once again. Leave a comment. Slam that bell to talk about old 2010s YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that, even though you're not supposed to give people 3 calls to action because then they won't do any of them. So if you pick any of those, just subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Anybody, you leave comments, you got suggestions for what you want to do, you think one of us sucks and should leave the show forever, feel free to tell us. We'll listen to it because this is our show and you can go fuck yourself. But we'll read the comment. I'll reply to the mean ones. And we'll all be better for it. So thank you all for rocking with us. Next week will be Maneskin. Think about it. That's all we got. Love you all. See you guys.
See ya
next time.